Developers got fired across 4 studios, and after that, developers say that anything can change and they're planning to listen to feedback for a very long time. Where's the roadmap? They promised a roadmap for 2026 and it's nowhere to be seen. What's going on? We're gonna talk about that. My name is Tom, also known as TheLankySoldier. Welcome to the best Battlefield podcast on the planet, Battlefield 1. And we're gonna talk about all the stuff that has been happening in the last week or so, because people already started getting a bit, what's the word, negative about it. So we'll talk about that. So let's just go straight to it.
But then when you've got Angel screaming, Angel does it again, and
that was something, right?
That was something.
I'm sorry, you cancelled the support for the game a month ago.
Why would they even host a trade?
I don't know.
And I sit down and he picks up one donut and eats it. So you want to like QA games?
When the rubber meets the road, they're gonna be like, oh my god, I don't like seeing Mario get his skull smashed.
Oh, I would love
It
to see
doesn't
that.
work.
I would love to
Yeah,
see
that's
that.
it.
First and foremost, of course, I want to thank everyone joining us for another hour of us talking about Battlefield. If you listened to the last episode where me and Ray were talking about RedSec, all that kind of stuff, you know that that was his last episode the next month or two, because he's moving to the States. So you're gonna be stuck with me for a couple of months. So sorry, not sorry, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, thank you guys for joining for another episode of Battlefield 1 podcast. Thank you so much. And of course, I want to thank our Patreon supporters, as usual. Without your patronage, this podcast would not exist. So thank you so much. Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. And speaking of Patreon, I don't really do promotions like at the start of the episode that much anymore, because we realized that people don't really care. But I kind of had to promote this one. On Patreon, I posted a 51-minute long video of me going through a random RedSec win, and I just explained what strategies we used, why we decided to go that way, why we decided to do that way, and so on. Because I realized that, hey, a lot of you are not a fan of RedSec. You know, loads of you don't like RedSec for many different reasons, but the main reasons from what I've seen why people don't like it is people don't know how to play battle royales properly and how to do well in them. They don't know how to do, it's a completely different skill set when it comes to like multiplayer, for example. So I decided, you know what, let me take a random win that we had, and let me just go through the whole footage, with the pen and everything, and I'll show all my thoughts and everything, and drawing on the screen, and it's like basically explaining what's the best way for you to do well in RedSec or any battle royale, because the skills and everything I said in that video can be transferred to other battle royale games, Warzone, PUBG, or Fortnite, whatever the case may be, right? Some of the skills are interchangeable between games, so I did my best to explain in the video why we made those decisions, why we decided to go that way, what's the strategy, and so on. Like, I tried to explain everything in that video, and I was like thinking, oh, it's gonna be a 30-minute long video because the footage alone is 21 minutes long. It happened to be a 51-minute long video, and I posted on Patreon. So if you really want to know, educate, yourself or get better at RedSec, I recommend, go to our Patreon, subscribe, use the free trial, use the free trial, use the free trial, watch the video, and unsubscribe. That's fine by me. As long as you're subscribed to Patreon in some shape or form, just check it out. I don't really care if you stay around, but if you do, thank you. And so yeah, check out that video, because I just want to, teach people how to play RedSec, because it's not that scary as it seems. I know a lot of people just like, oh no, RedSec, it's scary, even though they will never admit it. They will never admit it. It's like, oh yeah, scary. Like it's not. It's just like, it's an educational video I did on Patreon, so go check out, check out of me explaining why we made this certain decisions, why we won that game, and so on, and I just like draw everything with the pen on the screen, so for everyone easy to understand. So yeah, I'm really proud of that video. It's a first type of content, like a different type of content on Patreon, but I hope you guys gonna enjoy it. So check out Patreon, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Go watch that video. And speaking of RedSec, Black Ops Royale came out for Call of Duty Warzone, and I was not expecting seeing comments of people saying like, oh, This is just basically RedSec from Temu, or what was it? Like, oh, the top comments literally, like people discussing how the Black Ops Royale works in Warzone, and like their first impressions. And one of the top comments was literally like, nah, I'm staying with RedSec. So I was not expecting that to see it on. I was not expecting to see that on Call of Duty Warzone subreddit. I'm like, oh, RedSec is being talked positively in Call of Duty subreddit. That's quite new, but that's what happened with RedSec. That's why we kind of need to talk about RedSec sometimes, because RedSec did convert a lot of people from Warzone, and just seeing those comments, that and now screw this is RedSec and so on. Even though I have to disagree with loads of comments about that, because Blackout was a thing back in 2019 with Black Ops 4. So you can't really say it's RedSec Temu, even though it's quite funny to read that. But that's a different conversation for another topic. But I just find it really funny. And yeah, thank you guys for the last episode, for the love you guys gave us on the last episode. I know, like I said, not all of you are a fan of RedSec, but we had to talk about RedSec because that's what majority of us play right now. We don't really play Battlefield 6 multiplayer because Battlefield 6 multiplayer is not that interesting to us anymore. So we just play RedSec because it just feels more rewarding, more engaging, different matches. Like, every match is a different experience. And with multiplayer, Battlefield 6 multiplayer, with the maps and the locations and everything, it's like this is the same multiplayer we've been playing for the last 15 years, How different is it, right? It's not. So, and even though Battlefield 6 multiplayer is still good, with loads of problems, don't get me wrong, there's problems that developers have to deal with, but we just enjoy RedSec so much. So it's not doing numbers as I expected, because we were talking about solos and just general idea of RedSec on the last episode. But people that did enjoy the conversations, the engagement on that episode was higher than everything, compared to other episodes. Yeah, it's not doing numbers, but the listeners are more engaged. So which is quite interesting statistic to look at, Even though a lot of people don't really enjoy RedSec, but the ones that really enjoy RedSec and want to hear the feedback about, all the conversations and feedback about RedSec, they're more engaged. So that's a funny statistic to look at. So yeah, thank you guys for the love for the last episode. It means a lot. So yeah, and of course, thank you guys for tuning for another episode of Battlefield 1 podcast. Okay, so let's go straight to the first topic, which is some patch notes for the upcoming. Actually, wait. Yeah, when you're gonna be listening, the patch is already out. But I'm just gonna go through them quickly. So anyway, patch notes. So as we're gonna talk about, the layoffs, the conversations about the Battlefield franchise, about the future, all that kind of stuff. Until then, we're waiting for Nightfall, Season 2, Part 2, I don't know what to call it, Stage 2 of Season 2, whatever, to come out. So when you listen to this on public feeds, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, yeah, you're gonna be the Season 2, Stage 2, Patch 2, I don't know what to call it, Stage 2, let's call it Stage 2. Stage 2 is already out, so the Nightfall is already out. So this is the new map, the Hagentel base, the night vision mode, which I'm gonna talk about in a moment, new weapons, new mini-pass apparently. So I'm not gonna mention much because it's just but I was just going through the patch notes. So like I said, new limited time mode, which is Nightfall, which the night vision mode, and I'm already disappointed with this because it's only on TDM, Squad Deathmatch, and Domination. So it's not even on Conquest. That's extremely disappointing to me. I'm like, why? It's only Conquest. It's only on these small modes and not on Conquest or Skill. I don't know if Escalation is gonna be on this mode, but I'm like, really? Only on small modes? Which is disappointing. Which is basically dead on arrival. I'm just gonna play this one match, maybe for a challenge, and that's it. Call it a day. I'm like, I just don't want to play. Yeah, sure, domination matches, sure, because I did say I play domination matches to level up a weapon and everything, but I just don't care leveling up the weapons anymore. I just really don't care anymore, because that's why I don't play Battlefield 6 multiplayer that much, because it's just not interesting to me. It's like, oh, level up a weapon. cool. I don't care. I really don't fucking care. So that's kind of disappointing. So yeah, Hagental base. Well, let me know, guys, if you're listening to this when the Hagental base is already out. Let me know what you guys think. Is it good? Any bad? Just let me know in the comments or our Discord as usual. Which you also should join our Discord. It's in the link in the description. Okay, yeah, limited time on, whatever, like it's only that. RedSec is getting a new location, Seeker Complex underneath Unearthed at Fort Linden. And it's, of course, I'm recording this before playing the actual thing, so, but I've seen footage of it. Looks cool. Yeah, looks like a cool location for RedSec. That's fine. So of course, new vehicles, which is the dirt bike, new weapons, SMG, and a automatic sidearm, so which is great. I will use that. There's a Battlefield 6 trial happening right now from 17th March to 24th of March, so whole week, right? Yeah, whole week of free trial. So if you, by some stupid chance, you're listening to Battlefield 1 podcast and still don't own Battlefield 6, this is a perfect opportunity for you to play Battlefield 6, check out, level up some weapons, or whatever the case may be, just like, have some fun. Vehicle gameplay improvements, portable mortar gadget, who cares, AI behavior, who cares, maps and modes, low fixes, I'm not gonna read you the patch notes because this is the type of podcast. But from what I went through the patch notes, there's some UI changes, that's great, some networking stuff, that's great, vehicle changes, apparently they improved the tank stopping power a little bit to be more responsive, which is great. I love that. Then some gadget updates, then some weapon stuff. Okay, cool. Map improvements, cool. Progression was changed. The camo unlocks, for example. They changed that you can do your camo unlocks from. So every time you level up a weapon from 20 at level 20, level 30, and level 40, you unlock a camo. But now you unlock a camo at level 5, level 15, and level 30, which is a fantastic change. I mean, it's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's so much better. Like, because the way the progression works right now in Battlefield 6, it's a horrible experience, and I hate the camo system the way it works. Also, they haven't added any. Speaking of, I wonder if let's see what the new weapons, what kind of camos they have, because the camos like in the Battlefield 6 right now are so boring, so generic, and just so not interesting to unlock them. But just because you can unlock them now at a much easier rate, instead of reaching level 40 to unlock some a different type of blue or different type of green or whatever, it's an improvement. So that means it's gonna be less frustrating to unlock certain camos, which I'm really glad. So we'll see how it goes, and then let's see what the new weapons, what kind of camos they have. They should. I don't understand. Why can't they just add more camos into the game? Like, why can't you just sell camos into the game? Sell camos. Like, why the stores don't sell any camos? Like, listen, if you want a microtransaction, store, and so, like, you want to sell microtransactions, I don't understand why you can't sell camos in the store. Just like, sounds like the most easiest money you can make, and you don't have to charge them a lot, for the camos. Like, just add a weapon skin or something like that, and a camo on top. It's just like, yeah, perfect. Like, what's wrong with selling camos? I don't understand. But yeah, that's that. Then there's some other stuff. Got fixed, corrected. The word corrected was mentioned a lot in the patch notes. Corrected. Yeah, there's some setting stuff improved and something. Oh, in Portal, they added a new camera type called fixed. So basically what it means that you can attach a camera any way you want, and it's going to be a fixed camera all the time, which means you can have third-person Battlefield gameplay in Portal. I think that's very cool. So I think third-person gameplay can be really fun if done right. And because we gonna have this now in Portal, it's fantastic. Like, that it's fantastic. We can actually have someone can make some really amazing gameplay stuff with third-person camera. Like, it doesn't have to be that, but when it comes to gameplay, yeah, third-person camera can be really cool and so on. So I hope we're gonna see some cool gameplay moments. So someone's gonna make third-person conquest matches like that. That sounds cool. I kind of want to see that. That's a cool thing to do. So I'm glad they added that. You know, I'm glad Portal is still getting updates. So that's great. So that's fine, yeah. And also it's probably perfect for cinematics if you want to feel cinematics or whatever in Portal. So that's a good thing. So I'm glad they added that. Of course, there's some other stuff in Portal which I'm not gonna read. This though, the audio one. Apparently they changed adjusted loads of audio stuff for the game. So apparently they adjusted how. So you know when our biggest complaint when it comes to audio, at least mine personally, and I think loads of people that play this game somewhat religiously, they said that the audio is in a good spot, but it gets really muddy when there's like loads of footsteps happening in one location. You don't even know anymore. So apparently they're addressing that. So they will make they made certain adjustments to make sure that it's not gonna be confusing when you listen footsteps when there's like multiple people running around like one location above you, below you, on the side. At least you'll understand where the footsteps are coming from. And I hope that the patch notes are not lying. They actually fixed some of that. Then of course there's like for example, implement a new footstep mix strategy to improve clarity for close to mid-range enemies on busy combat scenarios, and it's basically the whole patch notes are literally like that when it comes to audio. Like improved distinction between indoor outdoor footsteps, which is great. Then some other stuff, and it's perfect. For example, increased the close to mid-range loudness for enemy ground vehicles with additional close range boosts, which is basically, remember when people complain that, hey, you can't hear a tank miles away on RedSec, so hopefully that will fix the problem. So now we're gonna hear a tank miles away, we actually will know where the tank is, because that's how it's supposed to be. So that's great. So, and yeah, loads of audio improvements and everything. I'm really, really happy they actually improving the audio, so that's great. And of course, there's some RedSec stuff. Yeah. New gauntlet missions, which is great. Weapons, maps, loot, progression, sure, whatever. And those are the patch notes. Like I said, I'm not gonna read the patch notes because who cares? You can read them yourself, and you're already playing the season 2 stage 2. You're already playing the new update anyway, so I don't have to tell you about the patch notes. You already figured out those patch notes as you're playing the game. You know, that's the best patch notes you could ever get. Your own personal experience, you know. That's so that's that. Also, before I end on the patch notes and move to the next topic, I just wanted to say this in our Discord. I don't know how many of you are play on PC or EA app when you play Battlefield 6 on the EA app. One of actually Patreon supporters, he literally said in Discord, he called EA app EA crap with a small CR letters and app in capital, and it's a very interesting bug they have in there. So a friend who had only multiplayer installed joined our party. Everyone has a bug where it says install Battlefield. The second he left, the bug vanished. Basically, his game broke our game. So like, okay, so what the fuck? EA app was never good. Don't get me wrong, it was never good. But like, this is just unacceptable. What do you mean a friend joins your group and everyone gets a notification says, "Oh, install Battlefield"? What do you mean? Everyone has installed Battlefield, but that one player somehow fucked up everyone else's game? Like, what? That makes no sense. I don't know how that makes sense. Like, so, okay, so I have no idea. I literally have no idea how the hell that makes sense. So, yeah, that's just stupid. So, yeah. Anyway, so those were the patch notes. Like, yeah, well, nothing interesting. So, let me know what you guys think of the new map. Like, literally, let me know, because I could be good, could be bad, but again, it's Battlefield 6 multiplayer. For me, personally, it's not that fun, but hey, let me know, guys. Let me know. Okay, next topic is less exciting, less interesting, less promising, it's more depressing, is that Battlefield Studios, or EA in this matter, has dismissed a number of individuals from their studios. So all 4 studios are Battlefield Studios. You know, all studios under Battlefield Studios umbrella got affected. So they lost people at Motive, they lost people at Criterion, they lost people at DICE, and they lost people at ripple effect. So people got fired, got reported by IGN. Now the article headline was very clickbaity because it sounded like loads of people got fired and so on. But then you read the article. It says certain individuals. So everyone, of course, and their mothers went around the internet saying like, "Oh yeah, they're firing people and everything." Have the biggest game of the year and somehow still get fired. Like, which I fully agree with the sentiment what people have been saying, because like, yeah, you have the biggest game of the year in the last 5 years, one of the best selling games out there, and you're still gonna get fired for, what did the EA say, for company realignment or some shit? You know, the typical buzzword that corporations love to throw around when it comes to like layoffs, right? You know, we have to reorganize the company to set ourselves for the future or some shit. I'm like, okay, whatever. So typical video game industry, right? Make a shit game, get fired. Make a great game, get fired. Just exist, you guessed it, get fired. You know, video game industry is just in such a shitty I don't even know how to call it. Like granted, like I said, we don't know how many people got fired. All we know, it could be like 5 people, 1 person from each studio, or it could be 20 people from each studio. We don't know. It could be 80 people, could be 20 people. We don't know. We don't know how many people got fired. From what I've seen, oh my god, I did find someone did contact the developers that got fired. I need to find it now. I just literally just remembered that there was someone talking to developers about it, and then their positions were revealed. Crap, can't find it now. Oh, found it. So okay, there's people names in there, which did they post it on? Oh, they posted on LinkedIn. Okay, they posted on LinkedIn. Okay, then I guess I can mention what they didn't say what they were working on. Okay, yeah, right. Senior game designer got fired. Associate game designer got fired. Yeah, he looks like a young, funny person. But yeah, lots of people got fired, but we just don't know the number of people that got fired and how important their roles were at the studio, all that kind of stuff, which is not great. It's just like, it doesn't matter that how well the game did or how shitty the game did. It's just the fact that people lost their jobs because someone decided that they don't need them anymore, which is a bit shit. It sucks. It actually sucks. And because it happens, it's just like the whole gaming industry is such a shitty industry. And just because me hosting a Battlefield related podcast, in the first place, it just sounds really dumb when you think about it. But then, because like, at the end of the day, who gives it? It's just video games, right? And people losing their jobs because of some executive side. No, we need to fire these people because it doesn't make sense for the company. Like, I would understand if the company was in trouble and not making money, you know, and like Highguard, for example, I would understand that. But just the fact that they fire people when they have the most successful game in the last 5 years, the best Battlefield game in the franchise, that's a fact, and it's one of the best selling game in the last 5 years in the whole gaming industry. Like I said, I think Modern Warfare 2 only from 2022 managed to beat Battlefield 6. So Battlefield 6 outsold Call of Duty for the first time ever. And God knows, like, well, in the whole existence, it never happened before. Battlefield never outsold a Call of Duty game, and for the first time ever, it happened. And you still fire people. Granted, like I said, we don't know how many people got fired. We don't know how many. And what kind of roles they have. But it's just so dumb. And it's just so... There's no way you could not keep these people in some shape or form or make them like maybe transition them to okay, you don't need this particular role. Okay, then maybe transition them to a different role. I mean, I do not believe that you could not transition them into a different role and all that kind of stuff. There's no way. I could not believe that. Like, and that's why I guess a lot of video game, franchises suffer these days, because companies just they don't care. Like, these fucking big AAA publishers, they just don't fucking care about their employees, and that's why there's a big brain drain, happening at the gaming industry in the last 5-10 years. Is because make a great game, you get fired. Make a shit game, you get fired. Or you just exist, you get fired. It doesn't matter. You're gonna get fired just because fuck you. Someone wants to make more money in the industry, and mostly it's the executive. I don't know if you've seen, guys, that interview with what's his name? I'm looking right now. Overwatch co-creator Jeff Kaplan. He did an interview, and he was talking about his departure from Activision Blizzard back in 2021, and he literally said that if Overwatch doesn't hit these specific metrics, which were redacted, by the way, so that means those metrics that company was asking him to do were insane, and if he doesn't meet those metrics, they're gonna lay off 1,000 people from the company, and it's gonna be on him. So one of the executives at Activision Blizzard was literally telling this guy, the creator, like the developer, the main lead developer of Overwatch, you have to hit these metrics, and if you don't, we're gonna fire 1,000 people, and it's gonna be on you, all you. This is gonna be blamed. It's your fault. I'm like, what kind of working environment that is? Like, this executive comes in and tells him, do this or 1,000 people will get fired, and it's gonna be all your fault. I'm like, what kind of working environment is that? And I presume those, metrics that the company or the executive was asking him to do were quite unrealistic. So that's why he left. I was like, you know what? I can't. This is, And he says, and that was the biggest fuck you moment I had in my career. It felt surreal to be in that condition. Yeah, it's insanity. So EA executives are probably no different, honestly. If you don't hit these metrics, you're gonna get fired. Because fuck you. And it's gonna be your fault. It's not gonna be my fault. I'm the CEO of this company. I'm Andrew Mr. fucking Wilson. I don't give a damn. I'm getting paid millions to be here and just earn money by doing nothing, basically, while you all work in the background and do everything you can to make us money. I know it's the same thing. The whole trip. That's why I don't really care if EA sponsors us or EA cares about what we have to say, on this podcast about their fucking franchise or whatever the case may be. You know what? Go fuck yourself. Listen, don't get me wrong. Me and Ray, we had mixed feelings about EA. We had loads of mixed feelings about EA. We had some positive interactions with EA. We had some negative interactions with EA. But at the end of the day, we stayed professional for majority of the time. We stayed professional because at the end of the day, we are professionals. And we stay professional all this time. But you just have to remember, like, just because we have some friends or whatever working at the company and they work on a specific product at EA, doesn't mean we're not going to call them out for being absolute morons. If EA does stupid shit like fire these people, we're going to call them out. You do stupid shit. How can you fire people when you have the most successful game in the fucking franchise for the first time ever? So these people that brought you the money, you fired them. I'm like, oh, you fucking insane. You're insane. Again, we don't know what number of individuals got fired and how big the impact was on the studios, all these Battlefield studios, but we don't know. But still, when people lost their jobs because someone decided to, it's not worth to keep them. Which I fully disagree. That like, it's one thing when a developer doesn't produce the goods. It's yeah, sure, that's one thing. But I'm pretty certain that majority of these people that got fired were producing amazing work. I'm pretty certain about that. And it's like, okay, all right, and you got fired. Okay, sure. Now, of course, some people say like, oh, it's probably has to do with not the skill set. It's just because maybe it could be just AI. It's the new way of implementing AI and basically maximizing profits, which is yeah. Like it's no secret when company fires people, for some reason their fucking stock go up. The company's stock go up. You know, I remember when Microsoft fired 16,000 people or some shit from the company, and their fucking Microsoft stock just skyrocketed to oblivion. It's like, oh yeah, look at all the money we make, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, this is what's wrong with capitalism. Oh, who called it? I remember I was reading comments, someone said capitalism or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, it's just anyway, yeah, it's just like maybe just implementing AI. That's what they're trying to do here. Like yeah, we don't need these people. AI can do the job for them, which is not great. The last thing we want is just, I understand AI implementation has been a widespread thing. It's like a lot of companies implementing AI as much as possible into their workflow because apparently AI saves them so much time. But from what I read, AI just makes everything more confusing and more stressful because you have to double check AI. That's the problem. So instead of making everything from scratch and do it your own way and you're in the control of the process, AI is doing it, and you have to double check if AI did everything correctly, which is, I understand why people would not be a fan of. I would not be a fan of. Like, I use AI for many different reasons, but even I get annoyed like that AI is just, I have to double check AI, I have to do everything to correct the AI, and everything is just like, it gets a bit annoying. You know, it gets really annoying, and I just don't want to deal with that, and I'd rather do it from scratch, you know. I'd rather go on Photoshop. I'm not talking about just generative AI, but just AI, just like, you know, do anything, right? Like, oh, write me this code, or do this, or summarize this, and that, and so on. And it gets really convoluted. So yeah. But yeah, I'm so sorry that people lost their jobs at EA, you know, working on this game and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it just sucks. And then you remember the commentary from one of the developers. What's her name? Christofi, I think. Alexia Christofi. She was saying like, we're a particular size team. We don't have. We want to keep the quality over quantity, and basically just her. Like I said, they could be like, Christofi is probably one of the scapegoats when she was sent to the wolves to do the interview, and it's like, yeah, say this kind of things or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but it's just like all these interviews sound like scapegoating to me. And when she says like, yeah, we don't have the team to make more content, but we have the team to keep the quality up, so which is sure great. But yeah, she basically just called them out, just like, hey, we don't have the team to produce more maps because that's the size of the team we have. And EA doesn't want to hire more people. Heck, they fire people. Like, they literally fire people to, you know, not to work on these games because, like, company realignment or some shit, right? It's just like, yeah, it's just so stupid. And of course, as soon as that was announced by IGN, that, hey, we have developers that EA is firing some developers. An article came out saying Battlefield 6 dev says it plans to listen to the community feedback for a very long time. And I love the fact that disclaimer in that IGN article. Disclaimer: this article contains comments from an interview conducted before EA announced layoff across Battlefield Studios. So that's that. Like, I still have no idea who lost their jobs at EA, all that kind of stuff. So that's fine. Which, speaking of, we can actually go to the next topic. Before we go to the next topic, of course, I have to mention you all. Just give me a minute, please, to talk about our sponsor. Okay, guys, just give me a minute. Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Without your support, this show would not exist. Thank you guys for all the support, for all the financial support that you gave us to us over the last year, supporting us and just supporting our work. Without you, this show would not exist. Thanks to you, we're improving the show on a regular basis. We're making the show so much better. Thanks to you guys, this show is consistent. We have a new episode every week, non-stop, for the last year and a half. We have an episode every week. Thank you guys for all of it. Thank you guys for all the support and so on. And I don't want you to support us just because you like us. You support us because you want to get early access to future episodes. So that's one. You're gonna get them ad-free, so you're not gonna be hearing this on Patreon. So you're not gonna hear me talking about Patreon on the Patreon episodes. And subscribe to Patreon. You're not only supporting us, you're also getting some content back. You're getting live gaming gathering episodes that are exclusive to Patreon. We already have 60 episodes ready to go, ready to be listened. And we have Lanky Uncensored, which is basically me talk about something that I care about. It's just like a one-on-one moment with you guys, telling me I'm telling you everything that I feel like, and you guys tell me what you feel like, and we have a nice conversation. So that's that. And we have some behind the scenes stuff. And I just said at the start of this episode, I said like, hey, I'm testing new type of content on Patreon. So it's like there's a 51 minute long video on Patreon right now for you to watch, and it's just basically me explaining how to win more games at RedSec. You want to get better at RedSec? Ooh, sorry, I burped. You want to get better at RedSec? You want to get better at the whole Battle Royale genre and all that kind of stuff, and don't feel intimidated? Go watch the video. It's there for you to watch. Like, use a free trial, join as a free member, and then unsubscribe. It's fine. As long as you watch the video, that's all I care about. That is supportive enough. So, thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for all your support. Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. This show would not exist without you. So please consider supporting us, and please get the content that you're gonna get. Please check out the content that you're gonna get by subscribing to Patreon. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything. Let's continue with the discussion about Battlefield. Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so that article that came out a day after it was announced that EA announcing layoffs across all 4 Battlefield studios, the developer, which I interacted a couple of times with him, not directly, but just like we had conversation. We had some interactions. That's all. Justin Weebly. Justin Weeby. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrongly. So basically, the article came out and says Battlefield 6 devs say it plans to listen to community feedback for a very long time, which is basically indicating we're not, will not be outrageous, but it doesn't sound like Battlefield 7 or the next Battlefield game is coming out next year. Doesn't seem like it, at least according to this comment, I guess, or impression that we're getting. Like it, even though it's like we don't know. The impression could be that maybe he's a Ripple Effect developer. So all we know, he's probably working on RedSec, and he's probably doing something with RedSec related and Portal related. So, and because RedSec and Portal are gonna be like probably gonna be part of the next Battlefield for what I predict, from what I assume. So maybe that's what he has in mind. He doesn't really mean for Battlefield 6. Maybe he has something for just RedSec and Portal. I don't know. But he's mentioning about Battlefield 6 here, which is quite enough. So basically he says, Battlefield Studios says it plans to listen to and work with the Battlefield 6 community for a very long time as it continues to post-launch support with Season 2 Nightfall while dealing with the unsatisfied fan base. Put it lightly, yeah. IGN caught with the Ripple Effect Studio designer director Justin Weeby to learn more about how the team is adapting to feedback in response to mixed opinions from fans. As it and the rest of the 4 studio group that makes up Battlefield Studios prepares to launch Season 2, Phase 2, Nightfall on March 17, there's one thing Weeby said he wanted fans to know. We're listening, we're reacting, and it's going to continue that way for a very long time. We're getting amazing feedback from the community, and we're constantly trying to strive to make the best game possible. Libby said when talking about Battlefield Studios' efforts to communicate with the fans. He continues, "We appreciate the community's time and that they take to share the details of what's working and what's not working for them, and we take it very, very seriously. The rest is nothing important." It's like, what he says. Is there another quote for him? Oh, he says, "So for him, including the testing done with the pre-launch Battlefield Labs program, the project at launch is the devs team's vision. After that, it becomes something more. So for me," he says, "so for me, once we launch the game, it is a community's hands to give us feedback. It becomes our game now. All feedback is important and we weigh the community feedback, but also, like I said, we look at the data of what's actually doing on telemetry. Sometimes it can be a perception problem. Sometimes it's actually like, no, both sources of information are saying, this is a big problem and therefore we need to stop the plans where we're going to and redirect and start focusing on things that we seeing identified. We are seeing identified, okay." He continued, "That's the main thing to take away from here. It's not like, hey, we crafted this massive plan, we're going to hold on to it. It's like, no, anything can change based on what is going on with the community, what's going on with the feedback, and what we're seeing from the game." Which basically brings an interesting conversation from me. I mentioned this, back in January, 2 months, I don't know, when did Season 2 go delayed? When it was announced that Season 2 got delayed? January, right? And I think right before Season 2? I can't remember. Well, it was right before Season 2, but I can't remember if it was February or January. One of those months, right? It was mentioned that Battlefield Studios, they're gonna release a roadmap for Season 2, and a roadmap, which is we already got, the Season 2 roadmap, which is obviously, and they're gonna release a roadmap for the greater 2026. Where's that roadmap for 2026? It's been 2 months, basically, since that was announced. And finally, I've seen people catching up, saying, hey, guys, you promised us a roadmap? And you said very soon, as in February, before, like with Season 2? Where is it? We're already halfway with Season 2, basically. And there's still no roadmap for the greater 2026. I'm recording this in the middle of March. So I'm recording this on 13th of March, Friday. And we still don't have a roadmap for 2026. And I was expecting maybe they're gonna drop it this week. They haven't. Actually, they haven't posted anything this week, funny enough. I already presumed one of the people that got fired was the community manager that was handling the socials for Battlefield 6. He got fired because there was nothing happening for 5 days, by the way. They haven't posted anything for 5-6 days. And then out of nowhere, hey, free trial, guys, free trial. 17th of March, free trial. That's the first thing they posted in a week. And I'm like, okay. And then today, before I started recording, they posted the patch notes. I'm like, okay, so of course patch notes can make sense. They always do that on Friday before the big update on Tuesday. Okay, that can make sense. But they posted nothing. And can we assume that we're gonna get a roadmap next week? I don't think we will. And judging by the comment that he says, it's great that they're, a comment to Justin VB, as he said, it's not like a big roadmap that we need to scrap or whatever. It's always updating, and with redirecting certain resources to certain things. We read the feedback and everything. And Ray said that we're not getting the roadmap, like he said 2 months ago, or was it a month before Season 2? He said we're not getting a roadmap depending how Season 2 will do. If Season 2 doesn't do well, we're not gonna get a roadmap. And now I'm thinking maybe he was right, and after all, maybe he was actually right that we actually we will not get this roadmap anymore. If we even gonna get this, I don't know. Where's that roadmap? I already predicting saying goal mode is not coming until September, earliest. I said it multiple times. I said on record on Battlefield 1 podcast, it's not coming until until September, which I still stand by that. People questioning, it might be Season 3. Oh, it's not coming Season 3, my child. If it's coming Season 3, I'll be very, very surprised. It's not coming Season 3. It's not coming. It's There's no way. You want to tell me Goldmode Railway is coming May? End of... No, wait. Wait a minute. Is it May? When does the... Okay, stage 3 starts at April 17. Okay, so May, yeah. Do you think Goldmode is coming May? It's not. There's no way. There's no way it's coming this early. Because like I said, they only started working on Goldmode just now. And was it last episode? Or 2 episodes ago, I mentioned about white box Goldmode. Like, because I mentioned that, they're probably testing with white box Goldmode because it has no textures or anything and so on. And one of the one of the content creators slipped and said like, yeah, he was criticizing why Labs NDA should be scrapped. And he said like, yeah, let people see white box Goldmode. And he basically said like he was one of the testers playing it. Anyway, listen to episode 74. Yeah, 74, where I talked about Labs. There's a bigger story here. Just go listen to that. And yeah, but Goldmode is not coming until September. That's my prediction. And yeah, where's the roadmap? Like, we would love to see the roadmap for 2026, but it's already middle of March, 2 months later after they mentioned the roadmap is coming in February, which they did not came in February, as you already can tell. Are you gonna ever release that roadmap? Like, I'm glad the roadmap always changing depending on the feedback on the impressions and everything. That's great, and telemetry and data, and that's cool. But still, are you gonna release anything? Are you gonna release the roadmap or not? Because now, of course, some people say like, oh yeah, I would like to have a roadmap for each season. Like, yeah, but we already know what's gonna be each season. It's gonna be 2 maps, 2-3 weapons, and some limited time events and so on. And maybe RedSec. Don't get me start about RedSec. Listen to previous episodes where I talk about RedSec. I can talk for days. Yeah, so there's no point posting that kind of roadmap because it's pointless. Because already we know what's gonna happen. We know what's coming, and people are gonna be mad while reading that roadmap. So that's well, it's not important. But you still can show what kind of seasons we're gonna getting. At least you're planning what kind of seasons you're planning to release for 2026. What kind of content or something? I don't know. Like I don't know. Like give us something. When solos are coming for RedSec, or is there anything else coming to multiplayer or something like that? Like give us something, right? Give us a sort of roadmap, because at the point people are just getting mad and annoyed that they're not talking. Like I'm glad developers are talking to us, but at the same time they're not talking to the same level that people expect us to talk, which is quite disappointing. So yeah, it's just like one of those things. Like talk to us, you know, give us a roadmap or something, right? You know. So it's just like, yeah, because people just losing hope, and just like, I don't want to play this because there's nothing. Now, of course, it's not like they're gonna abandon Battlefield 6. Okay, they fired developers, right, and so on. Have the best-selling game ever is fire developers, but we did say that layoffs are coming 6 months ago. You know, me and Ray did say that as soon as that Saudi sale happened, like, oh yeah, layoffs are happening, and layoffs will happen more. That's the thing. There will be more layoffs. And actually, I forgot to mention the last topic. Like, we know what kind of industry this is, and regardless how many people got fired from EA, it just makes you think, why would developers be motivated to work harder for Battlefield 6 when they know they're gonna get fired any moment, just because one of the executives decides like, oh, this should be done. It's just like, why developers should be motivated to make a good game. So maybe that's why that roadmap is not coming, because they're like, why would we make that? It's just pointless. Who cares? We're gonna get fired soon. Who gives a shit? And the Battlefield community is treating us like shit. So like, I get that, I guess. I do get it, but it's just not ideal. Like AAA gaming in general is just so fucking garbage. It's like, yeah, it's just so stupid. Anyway, I have nothing else to say other than just like, just give us a roadmap, please. Just give us something, you know, something to be excited for. Because I think the reason why people are so disappointed with everything is because they don't know what's coming. They don't know what to be hopeful for. Like, listen, some people gonna get mad, like, oh yeah, they don't care about us. This roadmap is nothing. Yeah, of course there gonna be some people that will be very disappointed with what they see and hear and so on. It doesn't matter. But it kind of will create some hope, you know? And that's what we need right now with Battlefield 6 and RedSec. Hope. Like this, some people are already speculating, like, if they're gonna drop RedSec, you know, they're gonna stop supporting RedSec just as soon as they hit that year, you know, November or something like that, and they're just gonna drop support for RedSec entirely. Possible? I don't know. Fuck knows. Just give us some hope, something to look forward to, unless you literally have nothing to be hopeful about in the future, which even makes it so much worse. Like, so much worse. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Fucking hell, fuck me. So maybe that's it. That's what it is. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this topic. I've been talking for a while, so you know what? I'm not gonna do a long episode today, but I just want to mention this quickly. So with all this happening right now regarding Battlefield 6, there's rumors about annual Battlefield games, which I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I don't think it's ever coming, because I don't think they have to realize that the Battlefield franchise being an annual franchise will be the death of thousand cuts, that kind of thing. So I don't think that's coming. Like, it's just not a realistic thing to do. I just can't see it. And look at Call of Duty. Like, even the most horrible person on the planet, you agree with him, sadly. Even Bobby Kotick said, listen, he said, was it 6 months ago, 4 months ago? I can't remember. There was like a lawsuit against him, and he said, like, yeah, Call of Duty was underperforming already, and we already knew that Call of Duty is gonna be not the best-selling franchise very soon. So they dipped. That's why, like, yeah, they sold. There was like the perfect opportunity to sell. Actually, apparently, Bobby Kotick said, like, we gave you such a huge discount with Call of Duty. Be happy to even got like at this price, because yeah. Anyway, that's a longer story here. But even him realizing that Call of Duty is not gonna be the best-selling franchise soon, because the gaming industry changed. Like, people changed. The game was changed. Everything changed. Lots of things got changed, you know, in the industry, like, you know, the retention levels and the games and free-to-play elements, all that kind of stuff, right? So that traditional, $70 game every year is just not feasible anymore. It's not a good business plan anymore, because it's outdated. So Battlefield going with annual releases, you know, every year, $60-$70, that's just asking for the franchise to be, you know, dead. You know, as soon as they're gonna achieve that, like, let's say Battlefield's gonna go annual, right? Cool, you're gonna release second or third game, they're not selling well. They're gonna drop that plan so fucking fast. They're gonna drop that plan so fucking fast as soon as they see that the second game and the third game are not selling well, you know, in the third year. Like, also, I'm not predicting that Battlefield 7 is gonna sell well either. It doesn't matter what kind of changes they're gonna do for Battlefield 7, which I'm presuming is gonna be a much better Battlefield 6. Battlefield 7 is gonna build on Battlefield 7. I can assure it's gonna be built on the same foundation, on the same stuff, same, like, everything they have of Battlefield 6, but it's gonna be much better. So that's gonna be Battlefield 7. It's gonna be more responsive, more snappy, all that kind of stuff. It's like gonna be less clunky. I imagine that's what Battlefield 7 will be. That being said, it's not gonna sell as good as Battlefield 6, just because of the way the live service is. Now, of course, anything can happen. Like, depending how the market is gonna go and how people gonna be feeling back then, and you know, in a year or two, how it's gonna go. Maybe Battlefield 6 is gonna be such a good state at that point. Maybe they're gonna produce something so amazing but people are gonna be sold on it, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the next Battlefield game, because Battlefield 6 is such an amazing game now. Could be. You never know. But again, we need to get there first, you know. We need to, you know, provide the content. We need updates, you know. Don't drop RedSec. You keep updating and so on. And it was like thinking, okay, let's say Battlefield goes annual, right? And also the Saudi is gonna be owning the EA soon. So what, in 6 months or 7 months, I guess, or maybe next year. I don't remember. But the Saudis will they will be owning EA at that point. and what's going to be their decision regarding this franchise. What they're going to decide. Like, are they going to... Also, I think I was talking privately with some other people, and we talked about EA being sold to Saudis back in November or some shit. I can't remember. There was a Patreon episode that we did, and I think it's a public episode, actually. You can find it. We talked about it, and we calculated that EA has to... Because they have to pay off the debt now, because the Saudis bought EA, so they have to pay off the investors, all that kind of stuff. And they have like a 20% interest on the debt. So that means we can't calculate. They need like to find $1 billion from them a year to pay off the debt. So $1 billion a year, that's fucking insane. Because the EA is making billions, but I don't think they're making... Well, they're making $2 billion a year, let's say. Why? You think EA wants to lose that $1 billion from that revenue? Or like, oh my god, that's... So they have to cut costs somewhere. So I'm wondering, I'm kind of entertaining this idea, what if EA will start selling franchises off to other studios to repay some of that debt, right? How much Battlefield franchise will be, be worth to be sold to, like, and who would want to buy the Battlefield franchise, right? Like, just this interesting idea I'm throwing around, which I will talk about maybe in the next episode or whatever, but I will talk about it one day. Like, how would it feel like if they're gonna sell Battlefield franchise? Like, assuming that it's not making the money they presumed it should be making, right? And the Battlefield, I think I mentioned on Twitter, the Battlefield franchise, I've been playing Battlefield games for 15 plus years. I'm like almost 20, if not more. I've been playing the Battlefield games for 20 bloody years, basically. And Battlefield franchise is probably the most mismanaged franchise I know. Now, granted, I'm a fan of Battlefield, so I could be a bit biased, and I always criticize Battlefield as much as I can because I always want Battlefield to be better. But Battlefield franchise is the most mismanaged fucking franchise I actually know. On the same level as Star Wars, Disney Star Wars. On the same level. I think it's being mismanaged at the same level as bad as Disney Star Wars. And Battlefield's no different. And, okay, so there was this one, I think we did it on Patreon episode, maybe last episode. We talked about the engagements. Like, there was this article, the statistic, for monthly hours of engagement for 2025, and we mentioned that Roblox is like, it has 10 billion hours of engagement. Then the Steam, PlayStation, Electronic Arts, and they show Electronic Arts basically 70% of engagement on the company, like the players engaging with EA's company, like EA's products. 70% is literally the football game, the FC 26 or whatever, the FIFA game. Then 10% Sims, and 20% is the rest of the portfolio. So we're talking Apex Legends, Battlefield, what else they have, like Need for Speed, I guess, or something like that. Like, so those are the percentages. So 70% of EA's revenue or engagement, whatever, is coming from FIFA games, and 20% is the rest of the portfolio. 20% of the EA is literally either Apex Legends or Battlefield and everything else they have. So I wonder what's the percentage inside that, because it doesn't show the graph. But I wonder what in our graph inside. And that 20%, is it like 8% Apex and maybe like 7% or 6% Battlefield? Or whatever the case may be? If that's the engagement levels we're talking about, because it's only 20% from 100%, right? If it's 20% and it's being shared between other franchises, Jesus Christ, Battlefield is not the best. Yeah, it's up there. It's a good franchise, but it's not there with, let's say, Activision, Call of Duty, or anything else in that matter, right? Or Steam's first-party games, or something else, or Fortnite. Like, it's not to those levels, right, of engagement, right? This is just engagement, of course. Don't get me wrong. This is just engagement. Engagement doesn't mean revenue, but in a sense, it kind of does. So I'm just curious, like, what would Saudis do if, like, they look at these numbers, they need to pay off a big debt, with 25% interest. Would they sell the Battlefield franchise to anyone? For a couple of billion? Well, maybe not billion, depending how I say that they could sell the franchise for $1.5 billion. I think they could. $1 billion maybe. Definitely not for. I don't think the Battlefield franchise is worth 800 million or something like. I think Titanfall alone was like 400 million or some shit. So there has to be a bit of a bigger sell value here. So from the seller. So I would say $1.5 billion or $2 billion for Battlefield franchise overall, just the franchise. So I would imagine if EA would sell the Battlefield franchise, they will keep the technology and the studios at their. They would keep the studios and the technology. They will just sell the IP. They will not sell Frostbite Engine, for example. They will keep the Frostbite Engine close to their heart. They will never sell the Frostbite Engine. And could Frostbite Engine be, an open platform like Unreal Engine one day? Sure, I can actually see that. Actually, I would not be surprised if the Saudis would outbranch themselves as a company, as EA, to like, hey, maybe we should make Frostbite a competitor to Unreal Engine. I can see that, because they have the technology and everything. And is it really valuable for them to keep it close to their heart, to keep this engine to themselves only, if they can make money by selling it to other developers? I can imagine that. I can actually see Frostbite Engine going like being an open platform type of engine like Unreal Engine. I could see that actually in the future. But Battlefield franchise being sold off to someone else, just the franchise, not the technology with the game or whatever, not the studios. People would assume, oh, we sell Battlefield franchise, that means we have to sell DICE. No, you just sell the franchise. And DICE is going to be working on something else that is whatever the Saudi overlords will tell them to do, right? Work on more FIFA games or some shit, I don't know. So I'm curious, like, who would even buy the Battlefield franchise? Like, someone says, I remember I was talking to someone, they said Tencent could buy it maybe? Because if Tencent would buy Battlefield franchise for, let's say, $1.5 billion, let's say, Delta Force would go straight to the fucking trash, because who needs Delta Force if you have fucking Battlefield franchise? So I have imagined Battlefield franchise would be like a more, it would be a replacement for Delta Force, I would imagine. But again, does Tencent really want that? I don't know. What about Microsoft? Does Microsoft want to buy Battlefield franchise? Like, hey, we have Call of Duty and we have Battlefield. I mean, that would be quite something. But who would make the games for Battlefield? Like, what Microsoft studio would be working on Battlefield games, though, right? So, Infinity Ward? I would imagine Infinity Ward do be like, they're kind of sick of making Call of Duty games. So I can imagine them, they're like, yeah, we want to make a Battlefield game. So I can imagine them making a Battlefield game, and with their talent expertise, in good, well, regardless, good game design, that doesn't bore, but they have the talent to make great games as long as they have the vision. If the vision is there, Infinity Ward at top of the game, top of one of the top studios in the industry, I can imagine them making a Battlefield game. I would imagine, and they would be happy just to work on the game and not work on another Call of Duty game. I can imagine. So maybe in 2-3 years, maybe we'll hear that Battlefield is being sold off to another studio, another publisher, and I can imagine Microsoft maybe like, you know what, hey, Infinity Ward, you want Battlefield? Infinity was like, fuck yeah, we want that. So I can imagine that happening. What others do? Like, who would even buy? Like, PlayStation? Like, yeah, not happening. After Bungie, then after Bungie? No, not happening. Bungie, PlayStation would never. Sony would never buy that franchise for 100 million years. There's no way. But then there's like other companies. Like, who would even buy that kind of franchise? It's either Tencent or Microsoft. I can't think of any other game, like, or any other publisher that would just buy, unless in some sort of discount. There's a discount for Battlefield franchise, maybe. But again, just what's the point of buying this franchise if you don't have the studio to make those games? And people, Battlefield franchise is very particular of what they want from their, what the gamers, like Battlefield fans, they know what they want from their Battlefield games. They particularly know what they want from a Battlefield game, and a developer that can't produce those goods like the destruction, the big maps, all that kind of stuff. I can't imagine them being happy with it, and then suddenly the value of the franchise goes down with that, because people don't play those games anymore because like, hey, this is not Battlefield, this is not what I want, so like whatever. But at the same time, unpopular opinion, like I don't want Battlefield to be sold off to another publisher, but at the same time, I'm kind of sick of the Battlefield community, for example. The Battlefield community, if you ask me, if you listen to this podcast, whatever, I'm sorry if you think the same way, but I think the Battlefield community is just so narrow-minded and so that's just smelling their own farts no fucking stop. And then they say, we don't care about Call of Duty, but they always talk about Call of Duty like it's fuck non-stop. They think Battlefield 6 is as in the same realm as Call of Duty. They literally call it Call of Battlefield, which Battlefield 6 is nowhere near to the same level of Call of Duty in terms of gameplay mechanics. For example, I played one round Black Ops Royale, like the new Warzone mode that came out just recently for Warzone, for Call of Duty, whatever, and I played it. God damn, the game is just so fucking smooth, so easy to control, easy to understand. Like it feels really good to play. Yeah, there's a bit of artificial stuff happening there. That's alright, but it's just so responsive, so fluid. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how fluid Call of Duty is after playing Battlefield 6 for a while, especially RedSec. My god, it's so fluid. And then in the Battlefield franchise, the Battlefield fan base still thinks Battlefield 6 is as fast as Call of Duty. Fucking, they wish it was that smooth and responsive as Call of Duty games. They fucking wish. They wish. And then, like, you see these Battlefield fans, like, it has to be this and that and so on. Oh, I'm so proudly not playing RedSec. Like, look I shared my stats of RedSec, 0, because I played 0 matches, because RedSec is shit. That's why I made the video of explaining how to win games in RedSec, because I think that's all it is. I think just people are the Battlefield community is so afraid to go outside their little bubble and explore other games to realize what other games are doing better. It doesn't have to be the same fucking thing. Don't get me wrong. Battlefield has to be Battlefield. We all agree on that. But Battlefield, to this day, still can't grow beyond that small niche. Battlefield just can't grow beyond that niche, and that Battlefield fan base is that niche, unfortunately, and they're so gatekeepy about improving the Battlefield franchise for the better, because in their eyes, it's not Battlefield anymore. Unless it's Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4, it's not Battlefield for them. They think the Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are such masterpieces that everything was perfect. The Battlefield 6 doesn't come close to it. I'm like, don't get me wrong, Battlefield 6 has its problems, but Jesus Christ, people, Battlefield 6 is still a good game, still a good Battlefield game, but it's being dragged down by the sense of the Battlefield community is dragging it down. Like the developers saying, like, listen, we listen to your feedback, we try to implement as much as possible, but some of it just like doesn't make any fucking sense. Like if I was like even back then in Battlefield 4, I remember I was listening to some comments from Battlefield community about something specific, and they just talking nonsense, just absolute nonsense. And I'm like, if I was a developer, how would I even approach this when changing something for the better is considered a really drastic change, and people was like, this is not Battlefield. Then go play your older, and they still talk about the old, like the top comments are like, oh fuck this, I'm going back to Battlefield 4. Jesus fucking Christ. You still play Battlefield 4 to this day. You still play Battlefield 3. You still play Battlefield 1. Like, listen, once in a while to come back to those games and experience those games, it's not a bad thing. But when people talk to play on a regular basis, those old games, like, yeah, good for you, man. But these are the top upvoted comments. I'm like, yeah, this franchise has no chance of growing beyond that. When we have the player base like that. When we have a player base that still glazed the old Battlefield games like the best thing ever, and they're not willing to adapt to the modern times, maybe Battlefield does need to be sold off and start fresh. I said Battlefield 6 should not be Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 should be just being called Battlefield and start from there. And we have a reboot. We start from scratch and we build from that. Battlefield 6 is not a reboot. Battlefield 6 is just the most safest Battlefield game that was released in the last couple of years, last couple of decades. Is the most safest game out there. And what's next? What the next Battlefield game is called Battlefield 7? No, I hope the next Battlefield game is a complete reboot, complete start fresh, and so on. And if Battlefield's the Battlefield IP needs to be sold off to start fresh, for someone to start everything from scratch and build this again, you know what? I'm okay with that. Unpopular opinion, but I'm okay with that. At least the Battlefield franchise has something to grow from. It's not gonna be shackled to the same mentality that we have from 2010s. If it's not Battlefield 4, it's about Battlefield game. In a couple of years, in a couple of years, I can see the Battlefield Battlefield fan base going on Battlefield 6. It was a good Battlefield game. I can see that. I can actually see that the people saying oh yeah, it was a good game. And then gonna bitch Battlefield 7, it's not a good game. But it's not the same. It's still gonna be shackled by the same fucking idea that all the games better, new game is shit. And even if, let's say, Battlefield Studios do a reset and they do a brand new Battlefield game, it's not connected to any previous games, it's a completely new story, new everything fresh. Maybe back then, maybe we'll have a fresh perspective and maybe it has a chance to grow. But even then, back in the background, there will be some people still oh, this is not Battlefield, fuck this. I'm gonna go back to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. Oh, I'll go back to Battlefield 6. Cool, man. Cool. And Battlefield franchise just can't grow beyond that. It can't grow beyond that particular point because people stop it from being, improving. Battlefield beat Call of Duty for one. One miracle happened. Battlefield 6 beating a Call of Duty game for the first time ever. Cool. But you look at the context. Call of Duty was down as fuck. It got punched, it got kicked. Call of Duty was not doing well. And the impressions the people were getting from Battlefield 7 and everything, all that kind of stuff, is just fatigue, same shit, no updates, no content, and so on. So the only way Battlefield 6 managed to beat Call of Duty is because Call of Duty was already down. When Call of Duty is hitting with all cylinders, everything is on point. When it's Call of Duty is back, being Call of Duty again, being really a good AAA shooter, Battlefield has no chance. That's the thing. The only reason Battlefield won that battle for once, since the existence of this franchise, they only managed to beat Call of Duty once because Call of Duty was not doing well. Battlefield only won that battle because of that. If Modern Warfare 4, the next Battlefield game, Modern Warfare 4 is actually a really good Call of Duty game, provides everything Call of Duty fans want, and they update Warzone or they add DMZ 2.0, and it's actually good modes, good titles, good content, and everything, Battlefield is just gonna be abandoned like crazy. And the way Battlefield can adapt to that is actually need to improve what it's doing bad. They need to let go that gatekeeping mentality the Battlefield fan base still has, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are still great games. And I will go back to those games. Battlefield 6 is a Call of Duty clone or whatever. I'm when you have conversations like that, you lost the plot. You can't, because it doesn't make sense. What do you mean Battlefield 6 is Call of Battlefield or some shit? Not even fucking close. Have you played Call of Duty game? Have you even played a Call of Duty game in the last 3-4 years? No, you haven't. You just shit talk, and these are the people that EA has to appeal to? They won't, because why would they? It's just so dumb. So we're not gonna have a fresh start until Battlefield will decide to have a fresh start, literally abandon everything. But until we try to entertain these people, Battlefield will never grow, unfortunately. It will never grow to be beyond what it's supposed to be. Battlefield 6 is probably the peak and the only peak they will achieve. And that's the biggest problem with. So yeah. And also, I forgot to mention that the 100 million players that EA was planning for Battlefield 6, all that kind of stuff, the player base. So 100 million players. So of course that was with free-to-play players, with RedSec and so on. And it's kind of already confirmed that RedSec did not do the numbers that they were expecting. But I understand why they did not do the numbers. They converted some people from Warzone to RedSec. That's a given. That's a fact. But it's just RedSec has not been getting any updates. Came out prematurely. It's not updated fully. It's a bit clunky. It's a bit. There's loads of things. There's loads of problems with RedSec, and it's mostly because it was undercooked. That was the biggest problem. Now there was maybe they're working in the background for RedSec and doing some important changes to make RedSec much better, and maybe we'll have a re-release of RedSec, and it's another second wind, and maybe we can compete with Modern Warfare 4 and Warzone and so on. But the 100 million players, I think it came from what I figured. It came from Zampella. So rest in peace, Vin Zampella. But there was what's it called? It was an event to remember Vin Zampella. So developers came on the stage talking about their good experiences with Zampella. I forgot what it called, the ceremony, whatever. They were just talking nice things about Zampella and nice stories and everything. Just remembering him, oh yeah, he was a good boss, all that kind of stuff and so on. And from what I watched the whole thing because I was curious, and lots of people said that Zampella was a very ambitious person, always very ambitious, always going for the stars, And 100 million player quote, I think it came from him, whether jokingly or not. But Vince Zampella was, listen, we have a franchise that can go this big, so why not try to go this big? So I have a feeling that was Zampella's plan. That was Zampella's attitude. 100 million players, which it's a good attitude. Don't get me wrong. I respect that. I respect that attitude. Zampella made one of the greatest games out there, and when he says Battlefield can achieve 100 million players, yeah, you know what? I'll believe that, man. You made one of the greatest games out there. Yeah, I'll believe you that you can achieve that goal with 100 million players for Battlefield 6. I can see that. I can actually see that. So that quote probably came from him, because judging from what people said about Zampella was always really ambitious, very outspoken, and very outgoing, and he's honest and everything. He was always that type of person, and he always aimed for the stars. And if 100 million players came from Zampella, that's probably true. That's what I believe. That's my small conspiracy here, that 100 million players came not from EA executives, it came from Zampella, because Zampella was aiming for that type of high, and I can believe that. Oh my god, I've been rambling for a while. So anyway, will Battlefield be sold off in the next couple of years? Maybe, fuck knows. But we'll talk about that the next time, when it's something more important, more intangible, because right now there was just mostly this opinionated discussion. So yeah, so next episode we're gonna talk about Stage 2 of Season 2. So the Hagental base, updates and everything, so impressions of that. And we're gonna talk about that in the next episode. So until then, I'm just gonna end the show here, because thank you guys for listening, because I've been talking for a while. So thank you guys for listening, thank you guys for everything, thank you for interacting with me, thank you for interacting with the podcast. Thank you guys for checking out patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Everything is in the description. Everything is in the linked there. Just click on the description wherever you listen to the podcast. Will be Apple Podcasts or Spotify, YouTube, wherever. Everything's in the description. Go check it out. It's everything there. So check out our Patreon. Join as a free member. Check out our content. If you like it, continue to be subscribed. If you don't, that's okay. It's a free trial. You can always cancel it and you don't get charged. Check it out. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for listening to my ramblings. Next episode we come back with impressions for Stage 2 of Season 2. And thank you for everything. Thank you guys for all of it. For all the support, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much. So patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Join our Discord, of course, in the description. All that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next one, and see you on the battlefield. Stay safe. Be a good person. Don't be a douchebag. I love you. Thank you guys for everything. See ya.